Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was a game that transcended expectations and redefined so much of what I knew about the Zelda franchise. Its seamless blend of exploration, puzzle solving, and combat, along with its stunning visual design, easily made it one of the best games on the Nintendo Switch. If you're like me, you probably spent countless hours exploring every nook and cranny of Hyrule, defeating Ganon, taking on the Divine Beasts, raiding monster camps while still trying to convince yourself that you don't need to buy more arrows from Beetle. But let's be real, we all need more arrows, and Beetle needs to start offering a discount because those prices are ridiculous. Now, with the sequel on the way and not a lot of information out there, I wanted to talk about some hopes I have for the game. So sit back, grab a Korok leaf, and let's dive into 10 things I hope to see in Tears of a Kingdom. But before we get into that, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel because my self-esteem depends on it and you'll only have a little regret. The Divine Beasts were cool and all, but they just didn't have that same magic that classic Zelda dungeons had, like the Forest Temple or Snow Peak Ruins. After a while, their excitement began to wear off, their visual designs were strikingly similar, and despite having different layouts, they didn't have that classic Zelda dungeon vibe. It just always felt like something was missing. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're horrible. They had some good puzzles, and I thought it was interesting seeing the different mechanics that each Divine Beast had. But after finishing Ruta in what felt like the same time it takes to microwave a burrito, I was a bit disappointed. Especially considering that there's only 4 of them in the game. If we had like 7, I'd probably shut up. I miss the themed dungeons that were unique in their style and challenge. Like remember Lakebed Temple from Twilight Princess? Yeah, that one still gives me nightmares. But despite that, it had its own distinct theme that set itself apart from the rest. It was always so exciting to see what was next as you move on to the next dungeon, and I just never really felt that with the Divine Beast. After a while, it just kind of felt like the same recycled idea. Moving forward, given the focus of the Divine Beasts in the previous game, it seems unlikely that they're going to be the center of attention again in the sequel. So to me, this could mean that there's a good chance for some new dungeon mechanic or system to be introduced. Personally, I would love to see the classic fire, water, or maybe even some new and exciting themes to explore in the new game. Picture this. You've just saved Hyrule from certain doom, Calamity Ganon is 6 feet under, Zelda is alive and well, the champions, well, they're still dead, but you're victorious. So what's next? Well, how about witnessing the resilience and determination of the people of Hyrule as they rebuild and grow some familiar places? Revisiting places like Hateno Village. You could find that they've grown and expanded since the first game. New shops, streets, and houses could be added along with new NPCs and quests to discover. The quest part is probably obvious, but you get what I'm saying. It can't be the same. But just to expand on this a little bit further, what about the places that were destroyed during Calamity Ganon's reign? Starting the game with a town or a village in ruins, but as you progress through the game, or maybe even complete some side quests like gathering materials or defending it from monsters, you witness it slowly getting reconstructed and growing more and more prosperous. New homes and businesses popping up and more settlers moving in. To me, I just think about how rewarding it would be just to see these places grow and thrive over time as you progress through the game and maybe even help them along the way. Who needs Animal Crossing when you have Zelda? Okay, that's a lie. It's still a pretty good game, and I want Nintendo to update it more. I think I'm getting off topic, so let's move on to the next point. Boss battles in classic Zelda games was like an adrenaline shot straight to the heart. The rush of excitement as you faced off against a towering foe, the heart-pumping music, the sweat dripping down your face. Okay, maybe that was just me, but you get the idea. The point is, those boss battles were epic, unique, and oh so satisfying to overcome. Facing off against Blight Ganons in Breath of the Wild was pretty cool at first, but after a while they all started to feel kinda like a copy and paste job. For me, Water Blight Ganon was probably the easiest, and I think this is just because right before you get a face off against a Lionel, and let me tell you, it's all fun and games until you run into one and your new best friend becomes the game over screen. Now this might sound like an exaggeration, but let's just take a look at how these two fights went down.
Careful, that spear has a long reach.
Okay, now the Lionel. I'm just not very good at this game. So for Tears of the Kingdom, I hope to see some truly unique and inspiring boss battles. Something that makes you want to leap out of your seat and scream, yeah, take that, you big ugly thing. Like that, but something a normal person would say. So you've been roaming around the world, slaying bokoblins, moblins, Lyssalvos, I probably said all of those names wrong, but you've been slaying them left and right. After a while, you kind of start to feel like you're stuck in a bit of a monster rut. It's the same monster types no matter where you go. So recently I was trying to make my way to Rito Village, and I had to wrap Link up like a burrito just to avoid taking cold damage. And then these half-naked bokoblins come prancing around like it's a beach party, and I just thought, okay, something's not right here. So for Tears of the Kingdom, I would love to see a bit more monster variety. Certain areas could have specific monsters for some of the harsh weather conditions. Or maybe some of them are actually region specific. That way each location you make it to can be something new and exciting where you can only find these specific monsters there. Making your way through the icy cold mountains and we have some snow monsters or maybe a Yeti type creature as an overworld boss fight. When you're out in the world, different creatures will appear during certain weather conditions, kind of like how the undead appear only at night. Okay, so Breath of the Wild had a pretty cool story and really well done cutscenes with voice acting that really helped bring the characters to life. But all the major and exciting events happen all through flashbacks. I get it, it makes sense given the plot of the game, but I think moving forward to Tears of the Kingdom, we need to take a big step back from flashbacks and actually get to experience these moments in the present. A good example is the champions. I liked them, I really did. But the flashbacks just throw everything at you at once. Like here's Mipha. She loves Link, but is also dead. And it's like, okay, what am I supposed to do with that now? They get introduced to you and then are ripped away before you even really get a chance to form a bond with them. Now, I don't think it's a bad story. I just think that it's the way that it's presented to the player that I had an issue with. I think that by moving away from flashbacks and allowing the player to experience a significant event in real time, you can connect more deeply to the characters and the stakes of the situation. It's easier to become invested in a character's journey when you're there with them, experiencing their triumphs and struggles alongside them. But maybe that's just me. What do you think about the story? Let me know in the comments section below. This is one of those things where you don't know what you have until it's gone. And I want my iron boots back. There's plenty of large bodies of water in the game, and I don't know about you, but in all my time playing Breath of the Wild, I never once was excited to go for a swim. If anything, it serves as more of an obstacle than anything else, and I just kind of feel like it's wasted potential. While I do think that Nintendo really hit the mark with sky exploration, I just think that the water areas need some love too. It would bring a whole new level of excitement to the game as players would not only be focused on the sky and land, but the vast and mysterious underwater world. Imagine encountering a new species of aquatic creatures, exploring sunken ruins, uncovering hidden treasures, with the potential for new weapons, gear, and abilities that are specific to underwater environments. I'm going to be honest, I don't think this is going to happen, but I think I want it the most. This is something that one way or another that we're going to get, but to what extent, I don't really know. I will say that I would love to see the hookshot make its return. There's just something about the hookshot that gets me every time. Doesn't matter what Zelda game I played, this is the item that I want the most. So I have seen some people out there express some concerns about the potential for a hookshot to break the game's balance. Link could bypass obstacles and terrain in a way that can make the game too easy or just ruin the climbing mechanic altogether. And I get it. We don't want to turn this game into the Legend of Spider-Man, but I think there are ways to make this work. For example, limiting what surfaces this can be used on, reducing its range, maybe even using a good portion of Link's stamina, and finally giving this a large cooldown. Kind of like the time-stopping rune, I don't remember what it's called now, and I kind of feel like I lost all credibility right now, but you know the one that I'm talking about. It has a really long cooldown, and I just think that we could do that, but maybe like double it, just so you can't spam it and just break the game altogether. What's actually interesting about this is that the hookshot was originally planned for the inclusion of Breath of the Wild, but was ultimately cut during development. So there definitely was an idea on how to make this work in the game at some point. If I had to take a guess, I think it was removed due to it interfering with the climbing mechanic. So with that in mind, I don't think it'll make its way to the sequel, but hopefully we at least get it in the next game. Are you tired of the one color solves all concept? Do you want to have some more freedom in how you want to customize your gear? Well, you are not alone, my friend. Now, this might sound like a horrible infomercial, but there's a good point behind this. The dye system in Breath of the Wild was a step in the right direction, but I think it's time for an upgrade in Tears of the Kingdom. First of all, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Why can't we dye individual pieces of armor? If I want my helmet to be red and I want my chest piece to be purple, then I should be able to do that. Now, maybe I just play too much Guild Wars, but I think about how much cooler it would be if we can even just have two color choices for each piece of armor. To me, by having a little more control over what color goes where, you can make old armor feel new again just by swapping things around a little bit. There's also some gear in the game that either it makes little to no difference or you can't dye it at all. And I feel like what's the point in including it in the game if you can't change it at all? You know, like I feel like if you're going to have it, you got to have some freedom in what you want to do with it. With the reveal of what appears to be the customizable paraglider, I don't think they're going to stop there, and I think that we can expect a lot more customization options added to the game. We went from the green, blue, and red tunic, and we ended up with like 12 different gear sets in the game. What was really cool was that each set offered something different, whether it was increased stealth, climbing speed, cold resistance. No matter what your playstyle is, this is something that you're constantly swapping out. If I'm climbing, I put on the hiker set. If I'm swimming, you bet your ass I got the Zora gear on. So for Tears of the Kingdom, I hope they add a lot more to the game. Maybe even explore different stat boosts that the previous game didn't have. I just think the more options we have in the game, the better. Whether it's the paraglider, gear, weapons, shields, or what about our trusty steed? Changing the saddle or getting some gear to protect her so something like a guardian doesn't finish her off. As much as I have a love-hate toxic relationship with the weapon durability in the game, I don't think it's likely that they're going to remove it entirely. I do hope that they improve on it a little more. So if I find an awesome sword in the game, it doesn't break after 5 swings. Let's bump those numbers up by at least 100, but more realistically, 5 to 10 more hits. The biggest disappointment for me was going through all the trouble to get the Master Sword only to find out that it breaks too. Sure, it regenerates, but it takes 10 minutes and now I have to use glitches to get it early because there's no longer incentive for me anymore. With the broken Master Sword that we've seen, I'm going to be honest, if I go through all that trouble of fixing it and it still breaks, I'm going to set this game on fire. And then buy another one because I know I'm going to still love this game. But I think we need at least one thing that doesn't break. And the only item that I can think of that would actually make sense is the Master Sword, because why would that break? Why would you want to get that if it's just going to break? I don't know. So hopefully we're going to see some improvement to this in the game. Alrighty, everybody, that's going to cut it for this video. Let me know what you hope to see in the sequel in the comment section below. I think it'll be really cool to see what ends up coming true when the game officially launches, whether it's something I said or you said. Before we go, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel so we can give the YouTube algorithm a good throat punch. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.